sister's daughter. She came home very upset and said, my friend has two mothers, but I only have one. Instead of correcting this with the Islamic understanding of family and explaining that such relationships are not allowed in our religion, my sister told her, you also have two mothers, me and your aunties, to try to comfort her. I advised her that this was the wrong approach and that she should start instilling the correct Aqeedah and Islamic worldview in her child from now. She argued that the child is still too young to understand, but clearly she wasn't too young to be influenced by the concepts of lesbianism and feminism coming from the school. So my question is, how do we advise a parent in this situation who thinks their child is too young for Islamic tarbiyah and Aqeedah, while the child is already being shaped by un-Islamic environment around them? What is the correct method of rectification here?
The correct method of rectification, it actually starts by the woman who placed the children in such a system to make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to remove a child from this system. هذا واجب. I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that wallahi thumma billahi thumma tallah, it's wajib upon this woman to remove her child from such a place. Education at the expense of Aqīdah and Akhlāq, this is the ya'd. You're not educating the child, you're destroying the child. And wallahi, you're going to regret this on the day of judgment if you don't make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is my advice to that woman. She needs to hasten in removing the child from such a system and find for the child an education system where they're able to preserve their deen. In the West, the likes of Scotland, they permit homeschooling. Remove the child, have a system in place for them where they're able to learn at home. If you find this difficult, then make effort in putting them in a school system where the child is able to learn, even if it takes money out of your pocket. But to leave them in this kind of environment, you're going to regret. This is just one aspect, which is the lesbianism and the homosexuality and the other abominations that they proudly propagate. But you also have that the child is exposed to atheism. There's no creator. And if you believe in a creator, then you're backwards. And the things that they say is, people needed a belief in a creator in the past because they were needy. They were needy, there was hunger. So they needed to tell themselves that there is a provider of food and provider of wealth so that they can find some form of comfort. But now, mankind has progressed so much and they have eliminated poverty in many of their societies that we don't need anyone. They're self-sufficient. And this is precisely what Allah Azza wa Jalla says, كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَرْرَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. Verily mankind, they go beyond limits when they believe they're self-sufficient. This is precisely how they are. So my general advice to the sister is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and look for another education system for this child where they're not exposed to such munkar. Another reason is that they will tell you, another thing is that they will tell you that they're too young to understand. But the true reality is they're scared to tell their children anything. Why? Because if the child goes back to school and says, my parents told me that in Islam we don't believe this is okay, they're worried that social workers are going to come to the house and pay a visit to the parents and assess your situation, and at times they may even take your children and give them to someone else. Wallahi al-azim, هذا موجود. So the person is living in a state of fear. Yeah, wallahi, for you to come back to your home country and raise your children in an environment where they feel safe and they're educated properly is better than living this type of fear. That someone is going to come and knock your door one day and say, you know what, it's time for these children to go. And there are many children who are like this, that have been taken from their Muslim households and placed into households being raised by the kuffar. And at times they're not even just kuffar. If there was a normal structure, a nuclear family, a mother and a father, at times they're taken and given to these type of people, homosexuals, lesbians. What do you perceive is going to happen to the iman and the khuluq of that child? So ibadallah, living in these lands is a danger upon our deen. It's a danger upon our akhlaq. We have to be honest with each other. Yes, we live in them, yes, but that doesn't prevent us from protecting them. Protecting them. And if a situation comes up and arises an emergency that puts them in danger, in terms of them coming for your children, and tahrub, flee with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will never neglect you. You're doing an action of khair in preserving these children. So this is my advice to sister. Also the third point that the questioner actually brought up concerning saying that the child is too young. I said this is not correct. The child at the age of 6, they're people who have reached the age of discretion, tamiz. They're able to understand, comprehend, and respond. And due to this, you find the kuffar, they start at a very young age. They begin to brainwash them very young. Wallahi, the things that happen there is unimaginable. At times they bring drag queens. He's a man who's dressed as a woman, literally, and he's wearing a skirt, and he's wearing high heels, and they're dancing on a stage in front of the young children. And among them, there are Muslims who are seeing this. So what happens? You begin to be taught this. They have the gay month, or whatever they call it, Pride Month, which is June. They parade the streets. They celebrate openly. The children see this, there are events happening at school, they begin to think it's normal. They begin to think it's normal. Now what I'm saying to you is probably has reached a level of disgust that you can't imagine. You're probably saying, how can people do this? I can say these same things, and if I was to present similar things in a different manner in the West, in front of the Muslims there, they probably just think that this is normal. This is normal. Why? Because that munkar has become so widespread that even the Muslims, when they hear it, it doesn't have the same impact on them anymore. Wallahi, there's danger that's going on out there. And slowly, they're trying to bring that to Africa. You see their efforts. They're trying to propagate this nonsense in Africa. And they want this munkar to spread. And who's behind this? Iblis and his army. They're funding. They're lobbying for it. If you speak out against them, that you're a criminal. Is it a crime to say I don't believe in what you're doing, and that my religion tells me that Allah created a man and a woman, and that they are together a reason for forming a nuclear family? This is a munkar? I'm happy to meet Allah with what I believe to be haqq, than to water down my religion and neglect the matters like this, so much so that my household is destroyed in front of me. And wallahi, you hear stories that are heartbreaking. An imam whose son became a homosexual, an imam of a masjid. How? There was neglect, definitely. You put them in the school system and you think everything is okay. Later on you find that things are not okay, and it's too late. You can't do anything by that time. So, wallah, there's so much that can be discussed on that topic on its own, but I believe inshallah what we've mentioned is clarity on the topic.